Hi, good afternoon all. Obviously run a bit behind, so I've got the good part of shortening mine right down. So I'm Sean McCready in the Doyle Shipping Group here in Belfast. We've offices throughout Northern Ireland and throughout Ireland as well. Our main office in Northern Ireland is obviously Belfast. We own Greenore Port and we've a big development going on in Cork Port for floating wind, so that's something for the future for us. Briefly, we were first established in Belfast in 1853, and I know I don't look that age, but I feel that age sometimes. We're now owned by the Doyle Shipping Group, which was set up in 1855, so we're a long family-owned business. We've over 650 employees throughout the group, and we're still a privately owned business in the island. In renewable energy, we've been probably working with the companies 25 years, the likes of Vestas and Siemens, on the onshore side of it. So on the onshore side of it, we were able to sort of use our experience there and bring it to the offshore side of the business. Robin Rig was probably our first development, working alongside with Harland Wolff. We're doing the actual sort of sorting the components and working with those. On the onshore, we work with Vestas, GE, Wind, Nordex. So we work right across the board with all of the industry players in that sense. What do? We are ships agents, we do stevedoring, do terminal logistics on site and off site, warehousing, customs clearance, all that sort of stuff. We're the operational managers for the Isle of Man Steam Packet Company, and we work with a number of the P&I clubs. BIMCO members since 1932, UK light dew collectors. So we have a wide varying performance of what we have within our group. We're able to move our staff about different offices. If we win for a project in Dublin or in Cork or in Belfast or in Larne, we're able to use all that experience and move our guys about. So our offshore projects probably started in 2012, and with sort of Siemens and Dong and Van Oord and people in Boskalis was the first ones in here. 2014, 2015 was probably our biggest jump. That we were contacted by Siemens. We just finished the WADS project, so we were contacted by Siemens and asked if we go to Sassnitz in Germany. So we all got out our maps and wanted to know where Sassnitz in Germany was. It was part of their Baltic 2 project, their EMBW project. So they asked us to come along there for about a year, 12 months. And what our project was to learn the stevedores in Sassnitz, how to move the machinery, how to work with it. So we were there as like a training company there for about just over a year and a half. That filled a gap in. Then we had the Burbo contract here in Belfast. We work with Dong Energy, or Ørsted as they're now known as well. So we've worked with all the players in Belfast here right since 2012. Then we moved on to the Walney extension, the Siemens, and the turbines and stuff like that. So we're starting off at 3.2 megawatts now, we're up to 6, now we're up to 8, now we're up to 9.5. So we've handled them all in Belfast over the years. We do all the terminal operations, so we offload the ships, we make sure the SPMTs are there, we move the components then from the quayside to the backup area. We've been asked to do electrical work on some of the components as well. So we do different things in the whole package. What we try and do is to make sure that when the company comes to us, that we can develop and we can use the local people that we have here. We don't do everything, we cannot do everything, but we will go to the likes of, Cask, we've worked with Ridgeway, we've worked with different Hine Engineering. So we use what's in Northern Ireland, what's in Belfast, to push it on to the next level. Obviously, Artemis Technologies there, we launched at the press day there, we launched into the water there. At D1 site, we work with Ridgeway for the Robin Rig project with the rock bags, loading them onto the vessels. Then we were QED Naval, the sub-hub. That was a development done by QED Naval. We're based in the UK now, so that was built here in Belfast. So again, we launched it into the water at D1 as well. So we have a varied thing. With Lamprell, Harland Wolff, we were involved with the East Anglia 1 jackets that were produced and developed in Harland Wolff there. So again, what do? Here's another part of what we do with Ships Agency there. We work in Larne Port, as Belfast Port and Foyle Port. These are some of the Enercon components for onshores. So again, we provide all the staff, all the labour, manpower, GOW approved, stuff like that for each of the ports. Offshore wind, DSG Belfast. We've been probably at this since 2010, working with Belfast Harbour and working with Dong Energy. So we developed a system here. What we do is before the components even come to Belfast, we will go to the likes of Nascoff Port where the blades are done. We will go to Linnu, the tower sections. So we'll see the components being worked on, we'll see the components being loaded on the ships. So we get a real feel of exactly what we need to do in Belfast or Larne and how the components need to be handled. Obviously Belfast Harbour, the D1, Colin stole some of my pictures, but we'll leave it there. So the monopiles on the D1 site, our office is just, when the monopiles are, is just to the right of that. So are we on site? We absolutely are, right behind it there. So you can see the site developed there with, that was Boskalis with the MPs and TPs, and that was Siemens then above it with the wind farm components. And it's all about managing the interaction between those two companies. That's where we come into play as well. We are the interaction between Dong Energy, between Siemens and Van Orden, Boskalis and those people. So again, it's another side picture of the D1 facility in Belfast at use. That's gives you the view of the monopiles and TPs, and that's the loadout vessel, Pacific Order. So again, we're involved in the loadout as well of that. Monopiles, this is a way of actually floating the monopiles out to sea, which was developed by Van Ord. So they actually lift the monopile out, put it into the water, and then they tow the monopile out to the site. So again, it's a new way of doing it, whichever they worked at. The TPs were, they were nice colours, and as you can see in all our photographs, Belfast is, again, nice sunshine day. So we work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, Christmas Day. It does not matter. Some of these installation vessels are £240,000 a day. So when they say every minute counts, they really do mean every minute counts. So we do work Christmas Day, we work right through the year, and depending on just what needs done, we provide the labour. At the start, we were probably 25 staff involved in it. We then went up to 60 staff involved on each of the projects. They all had different sort of varying levels of what they needed to do, but we were able to work with Siemens and Vestas and Boskalis and all the companies there to make sure that we did provide a service. We made sure that the SPMTs, we work with all the TPs. So it's just making sure that the whole concept works. We have the drivers that are available for the reach stackers. So we've reach stacker drivers. Westwind, the ship's agency is something that we do. We work with the ships when they come in, organising with Belfast Port, the pilotage, the tugs, the mooring, all that sorts of stuff. So we keep the interacting between Dong Energy and Vestas and Siemens to make sure the ships get in on time, get offloaded on time, and get out on time. So it's an important part of it all to work together. So that's us offloading some Vestas blades there. You can see that everybody's a different system of how they do it, how they work with it, how they stack them on board. And that's sort of the site almost filled up there with the blades and the towers. So again, we're interacting with the manpower and the slingers and the banksmen all right across the board with all the companies there. That's the installation vessel. That's the last of the Van Ords. Just taking out the last of the MPs there, and then they finish the TPs off. So again, it's 24-hour service working with them. So we provide stevedoring, logistical, manpower. All the guys are qualified, GW approved. It's very important that you have all that. You can't have sort of a first aid done by St John's Ambulance. They have to be all approved, pre-approved, and make sure they're on. And Siemens have a list, Vestas have a list, Van Ord have a list. They all have a list, so you have to make sure that they're on their thing. We do on-site logistical services, so not only the component movements, a lot of spare parts need done, a lot of spare parts need warehoused, a lot of spare parts need brought from Denmark, UK, Germany. There's times when we've had to send a van to Norway to lift a piece to get it back to Belfast as soon as possible. You put two guys in a van, you tell them just to go. So that's the sort of services you have to offer. That's what we do every day with them, and it keeps us going. So we do backup services, hotels, taxis, silly things like that. That people really don't see in what has to happen in the background, but we're there getting spare parts, we know who to talk to, and we work our way through. Sorry, I run through that really quickly. So it's Doyle Shipping Group. We're part of the major group. We work in renewable energy. We do a lot of project work. So we're actually starting now talking with the harbours, with ship owners, with some of the component manufacturers about what's happening in 2024 and 2025, 2026. One concern that we have is the bigger these components get, how big do the ships get, and how big do the ports need to be? Because that's a major concern. Is there a limit down the line that we have to look at and say, most ports can do it? Belfast is probably the only port sort of in the Irish Sea that can handle a lot of this traffic. And working with Belfast Port and working with Harland Wolff, there is room there for development. But again, we've got to watch what size we go to. Lessons learned, it's hard work. It's 365 days a year, 7 days a week, and that's what you have to do. Okay, thank you.